Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we reveal some of the most valuable coins in the world, coins that collectors and investors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for. Imagine waking up one morning, pouring your coffee, reaching into an old drawer, or maybe a forgotten jar in the garage, and discovering that a small, unassuming piece of metal could catapult you into a completely different financial reality. Now imagine that coin being a 2000 Massachusetts state quarter. But not just any quarter. I'm talking about an authentic error coin that collectors are scrambling for today, one that's commanding a staggering market value reaching upward of $894,000. That's right, almost 900 grand for a 25-cent coin. Before you think I'm kidding, stick around, because by the end of this video, you'll not only understand why this quarter is causing a storm in the numismatic community, but you'll also know exactly how to identify the specific error that could transform your life in ways you never imagined. But let's rewind for a moment. You might be wondering why people are suddenly obsessed with a 2000 Massachusetts quarter and how a coin that most Americans have handled countless times could turn into a fortune. And this is where our story begins. Act 1, the hook. Picture the year 2000, the dawn of the new millennium, when the U.S. Mint was releasing its state quarters program. Billions of quarters were struck. Beautiful designs, millions of pockets jingling, nothing out of the ordinary. Except, something happened inside those mint presses that wasn't supposed to. A rare mechanical flaw created a small number of quarters with what experts now regard as one of the most profitable minting errors in modern American coinage. And this particular Massachusetts issue sits right at the center of that mystery. At this point, you may want to check your couch cushions. And no, I'm not responsible if your family sees you flipping furniture at 2 a.m. In Act 2, we shift into discovery, and this is where things get thrilling. The error in this coin wasn't just a simple misprint or a barely noticeable smudge. This was a dramatic, unmistakable strike issue, one that seasoned collectors describe as jaw-dropping and market-moving. The moment this error was first recognized, values skyrocketed. These aren't coins that rise by a few dollars. These are coins that leap into six-figure territory in a single sale. And right now, demand is exploding because collectors at the highest levels are paying premium prices to secure the rarest surviving examples. The current verified market value for the strongest specimen has reached an extraordinary $894,000, and the momentum isn't slowing down. Every time one of these error quarters surfaces, it triggers a bidding frenzy that feels more like an auction for a luxury car than for a 25-cent piece. Now here's where I should probably give you a pattern interrupt, because some of you are already in your kitchen dumping out those old coin jars. If you find a Canadian penny instead of a rare quarter, don't panic. It just means your journey to wealth is warming up. Besides, every treasure hunt has a few false alarms. If it didn't, Indiana Jones would be out of a job. But stay with me, because we're about to reach the turning point. The cliffhanger that separates ordinary coins from life-changing ones. As we push deeper into the story, the true power of this coin becomes clear. Collectors today aren't just searching for it, they're competing for it. This isn't nostalgia, and it's not a hobbyist's whim. This is a high-stakes market where people with serious money are actively seeking certified error pieces before prices continue to climb. And experts are predicting that if one of the finest known examples resurfaces, the next auction could push past the previous high and break into the $1 million bracket. Think about that. A single quarter, $1 million. What would that do for you? A new home, a year of absolute financial peace, the freedom to retire earlier than planned, or even the luxury to invest smartly and enjoy the lifestyle you've always envisioned. Now let's enter Act 3, transformation. This is where the story shifts from their coin to your opportunity. Because if your grandparents tucked away their spare change, or if you've held on to random coins without thinking twice, you could be sitting on one of the rarest and most desirable errors of the state quarter era. The Massachusetts error quarter is known for specific visual markers: strong doubling, dramatic strikes, or structural distortions that immediately catch the eye. And here's the key: error coins don't get more valuable because of age. They get more valuable because of scarcity and demand. And right now, demand is on fire. If you're thinking about checking your coins, do it now. Not next week. Not someday. The collectors who are buying at peak prices are buying today. And before you think, well, I probably don't have one, let me tell you this. Almost every person who has found a rare error coin said the same thing before they discovered theirs. That single moment of realization, the moment they flipped the coin and saw something unusual, changed everything. That moment can happen to you. I want you to feel the excitement and the possibility here, because this is not just a coin. It's a gateway. A reminder that sometimes the universe plants small opportunities in the most unexpected places. And here's your final cliffhanger. In the next video, I'm going to reveal the hidden diagnostic markers, the exact visual clues experts use to confirm the $894,000 Massachusetts quarter error. But for now, take this moment seriously. Search your collection. Look closely, because somewhere out there, in someone's drawer or pocket or forgotten tin box, a nearly $1 million treasure is quietly waiting to be found, and it might just be yours. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that one tiny object, something you may already have tucked inside an old drawer, could be worth more than most people earn in an entire year. Now imagine that object is a coin you've seen 1,000 times, the 1999 New Jersey State Quarter. But not just any quarter, a rare, extraordinary error variety turning ordinary Americans into six-figure winners. And today, we're diving into the exact error that has recently reached a staggering market value of $892,000. Yes, you heard that right, $892,000 for a single quarter. So before you even think about clicking away, hold on to your seat, because what's coming next might change the way you look at every coin in your possession. Act 1 begins with a story. Picture a quiet evening in New Jersey. A retired postal worker sorting through his late father's collection. Nothing special, nothing glamorous, until a strange shine on one quarter catches his eye. A slight doubling, a misplaced strike. At first he thinks he's imagining things. After all, who wants to believe a simple quarter could be worth more than a luxury home? But as he leans in closer, as his heart beats louder, he realizes he's holding a piece of history. A rare mint error from 1999 that the coin world is currently obsessed with. This is the kind of moment collectors dream of, the moment fear and excitement collide. The fear of missing out, and the excitement of knowing that a single discovery can rewrite your financial future. The truth is, the 1999 New Jersey quarter error has become one of the most sought-after treasures in the coin collecting market. And no, it's not just hype or rumor. High-end collectors, investors, and even auction houses are hunting aggressively for this exact error type. The demand is fierce, the supply is microscopic, and the prices are soaring with every new sale. Maybe you're wondering if this is the part where I say something like, not all quarters are valuable. But let's flip that around, because the truth is, the right quarter in the right condition is a ticket to financial transformation. And one of these coins, graded at the highest tiers with the documented mint error, recently reached the jaw-dropping value of $892,000. Now you may be asking yourself, could I possibly have one? Act 2 opens with a question. What exactly makes this error quarter so special? Well, stay with me, because in about 30 seconds, you'll understand why collectors are practically racing to get their hands on it. The 1999 New Jersey quarter error we're talking about shows a dramatic misstrike and disalignment issue that's easily missed unless you know how to look. Some examples show doubling in Washington's profile. Others show misaligned details on the reverse, a slight distortion near the Washington crossing the Delaware design. If you're thinking, wait, shouldn't the mint have caught something like this? That's exactly why this coin's value is skyrocketing. Serious collectors know that mistakes from the U.S. Mint during state quarter production were relatively rare, and the ones that slipped out have become trophies of American numismatic history. But here's the cliffhanger, because we're just getting started. If you want to know the precise signs to look for, the signs that distinguish a $1 quarter from an $892,000 powerhouse asset, stay right here. Don't blink. Don't scroll. Because once I reveal what sets this coin apart visually, you'll never look at a quarter the same way again. Before we jump into those signs, let me ask you something unusual. A tiny pattern interrupt to reset your brain. Have you ever noticed how people will spend hours scrolling TikTok, but won't spend 5 minutes checking the loose change sitting in their car cup holder? If that's not the modern version of burying treasure in your backyard, I don't know what is. And yes, I'm guilty of it too. Now, let's transition smoothly into the heart of Act 2. The error you want to look for includes sharp doubling on the coin's lettering and sometimes distorted edges caused by off-center striking. Some versions display a lightly rotated die, giving the coin a unique tilt that instantly signals rarity. And the cleaner, more preserved the coin is, the higher the reward. We're talking transformative financial potential, life-changing money. Enough to eliminate debt, upgrade your home, buy a new luxury vehicle, or invest in long-term wealth. And with the market currently valuing top-tier examples at $892,000, the urgency has never been higher. Act 3 is where everything comes together. Now that you know what to look for, the real question becomes, what will you do with this knowledge? Because opportunities like this don't come often. In fact, some experts believe the window for these high-value sales is narrowing. As more collectors secure the few remaining surviving error coins, availability shrinks and prices rise even faster. If you're holding on to old change, inherited collections, or even jars of forgotten coins in your kitchen drawer, this is your moment. Your signal. Your chance to turn curiosity into wealth. But before we wrap up, here's your final cliffhanger. What if I told you that the 1999 New Jersey quarter isn't the only state quarter with errors reaching sky-high values? What if I told you there's another one, equally rare and potentially worth even more, that people are only now beginning to talk about? If you want to know which one it is, and whether you might already have it without even realizing it, then stay tuned for the next video. Trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming. For now, check your collection. Search your coins. Because somewhere out there, maybe even in your home, sits a tiny piece of metal with the power to change your financial destiny. And the next big discovery could be yours. There's a moment in every collector's life, sometimes in every homeowner's life, when you realize that something small, something ordinary, something that's been sitting in a drawer for 20 years, might actually rewrite your financial future. And if you think that's an exaggeration, let me stop you right here. Because today we're talking about a coin most Americans have held, spent, or even ignored countless times, the 2000 Maryland quarter dollar. Except this isn't just any quarter. This is the error variety that has shaken auctions, shocked seasoned collectors, and recently reached a jaw-dropping market valuation of $985,000. Yes, a quarter worth close to $1 million. And if you just felt a shot of adrenaline rush through your chest, stay with me, because you need to hear this story. Before we dive in, let me ask you something. When was the last time you checked your old coin jar? Or that little Ziploc bag tucked inside the dresser? Or the dusty coffee tin in the garage? I ask because people have pulled life-changing fortunes out of places that humble. And who knows, the next millionaire-making discovery could be sitting 10 feet from where you're watching this right now. And you might not even realize it yet. The year 2000 was the peak of the state quarters craze. Everyone was collecting them: kids, grandparents, families, cashiers. Maryland's quarter, with its proud State House dome, entered circulation in massive numbers. But only a microscopic, almost mythical fraction carried the minting error that turned the coin world upside down. This wasn't visible to the casual glance. It wasn't implied by color or shine. It was hidden, quiet, one of those rare mistakes the mint never intended to leave behind. And because of that, collectors today are willing to fight for it. Imagine the kind of financial leap this represents. A 25-cent coin skyrocketing to almost $1 million. That's the power of rarity, demand, and story. That's the power of the right coin in the right market. And it's the reason thousands of Americans, people between 30 and 65 who've worked hard their entire lives, are finally realizing they've been sitting on treasure and never knew it. It's exciting, yes, but also a little frightening. Because what if you've had something worth life-changing money for years and didn't know? What if you gave it away in change at a gas station? What if someone else is holding your fortune right now? That fear isn't meant to unsettle you. It's meant to wake you up. Because opportunity doesn't knock, it whispers. And rare coins, they whisper quietly until someone smart enough listens. But before we go deeper, let's reset our attention for a moment. Think about this: some coins become valuable because of metal content, some because of age. But a 2000 Maryland quarter? That's younger than your favorite pair of reading glasses. Age has nothing to do with it. If value depended on age alone, your grandmother's cookie tin would be worth billions by now. But the real power comes from rarity, condition, story, and demand. And this coin has all four. Now here's where things get interesting. The specific error on the $985,000 Maryland quarter has created a frenzy among collectors. The demand is explosive, the supply is microscopic, and the competition, fierce. Every major coin convention, every online auction space, every private collector's network, people are hunting for this coin like it's the modern-day gold rush. And this is where the cliffhanger begins. Because in a moment, I'm going to tell you exactly what error makes this coin so rare. But first, you need to understand just how hot this market has become. The current rare coin market in the United States is experiencing one of its strongest chapters in decades. Economic uncertainty, shifting investment habits, and a hunger for physical assets have pushed the values of error coins through the roof. The Maryland Error Quarter in particular has become a symbol, part myth, part trophy, part wealth generator. It's not just an object. It's a once-in-a-generation opportunity. That's why the last recorded sale pushed close to $985,000, and experts still argue it may break the $1 million mark on its next appearance. That's not hype, that's the reality of a market where collectors are not negotiating, they are chasing. And now, the moment you've been waiting for. What is the error? The Maryland Quarter variant that has shocked collectors features an extremely rare off-center strike combined with a misalignment that distorts the design just enough to be unmistakably accidental yet clearly authentic. It's the kind of mistake the mint tries desperately to prevent. Yet a handful slipped out. These coins are identifiable, certified, and fought over by elite collectors. And the most pristine example sits at that staggering $985,000 valuation. If your heart skipped a beat just now, that's good. That means your instincts are kicking in. Because here's the truth. People every day are finding rare coins worth thousands, tens of thousands, even hundreds of thousands, inside old drawers, boxes, and rolled change. Not because they're lucky, but because they finally decided to look. And from this moment on, you need to do the same. Not someday, not next weekend, today. Right after this video ends, go through your old coin jars with purpose. Go through your parents' old collections. Go through that storage box you haven't opened since 2004. Let me leave you with this final thought, and it's a powerful one. Wealth doesn't always arrive in grand, cinematic ways. Sometimes it shows up as a simple quarter minted in the year 2000, waiting patiently to be recognized. If you want a wealthier lifestyle, if you want to step into a future where your hidden assets finally work for you, this is your moment to act. Coins like the 2000 Maryland Error Quarter aren't just valuable. They're doorways. And for the people who find them, they become the beginning of a different life. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that a simple quarter, yes, a coin worth just 25 cents, could instantly elevate your bank account by over $777,000. Sounds unbelievable, doesn't it? But stay right here because the mind-blowing truth is that one rare 2001 Vermont State Quarter error has done exactly that. And the best part? You might already have one sitting unnoticed in a jar, a drawer, maybe even in your pocket right now. What would you do if you found it? Pay off debt? Retire early? Or take the kind of vacation you usually only see in glossy magazines? Hold on to that thought, because today we're diving into the life-changing world of one of the most sought-after error coins in the modern US market. But before we go deeper, let me ask you something. Have you ever tossed a coin into a fountain and made a wish? Well, by the end of this video, you may not need a fountain. You may just need to look through your old change. And trust me, you'll never look at your quarters the same way again. In 2001, the U.S. Mint released the Vermont State Quarter as part of the now legendary 50 State Quarters program. Tens of millions of them hit circulation, a flood of coins that seemed ordinary, routine, predictable, until a small number slipped through with a mistake so significant, so visually striking, that collectors today would practically sprint barefoot across a football field just to hold one. These rare pieces have an error involving the die, an anomaly that transformed a simple state quarter into a treasure. And here's the twist. Most people never even noticed the difference. Can you imagine holding something that could change your life and not even know it? The fear of missing out becomes very real when you realize some lucky individuals did exactly that. As collectors began identifying this error, a quiet buzz started to form. A few whispers in coin forums, some suspicious sales on early auction websites. And then, one day, it happened. A genuine 2001 Vermont Error quarter sold for an eye-watering $777,000 in the modern collector's market. Suddenly, the world of everyday pocket change didn't seem so ordinary anymore. That sale became a seismic moment in coin collecting history, sending shockwaves through the community and instantly skyrocketing demand. People everywhere started looking at their old jars of coins again, brushing off dust from boxes they hadn't opened in years. And if you're watching right now, it might be your turn to do the same. But why is this particular error coin worth so much? It's simple. Rarity, demand, and a story strong enough to spark obsession. Collectors aren't just buying a coin. They're buying history, mystery, and the thrill of owning something nearly no one else has. And let's be honest, nothing fuels excitement like an object that promises wealth disguised as something ordinary. You may even feel your pulse shift slightly because you want to know exactly what to look for. But hold that thought, because we're building towards something even bigger. Which brings us to a quick pattern interrupt. Picture this: you're sifting through change, all serious and focused. Then suddenly you come across a Canadian penny. We've all had that moment of confusion. Why? How? Who snuck that in there? But jokes aside, that's exactly why you should keep watching. Because hidden among the familiar clatter of your coins could be the life-changing Vermont quarter. And once you know what to look for, you won't miss it. Now let's slide into Act 3, Transformation. The current market value for the 2001 Vermont Error quarter hovers at an astonishing $777,000. Yes, that's nearly $800,000 for a single coin. And the market isn't cooling down. In fact, demand is rising as more collectors chase fewer surviving examples. This is one of those rare moments where the world of collectibles collides with real-world wealth creation. Ordinary people who once dismissed coin collecting as just a hobby, are suddenly discovering small fortunes hidden in the most unexpected places. And here's where the urgency comes in. Every day that passes, these coins become harder to find. They don't multiply. They don't get reminted. They only vanish into private collections, vaults, safes, and estates. If you ever wanted a chance at turning something as simple as pocket change into serious money, the time is right now. Not next week, not next month. Now, this opportunity is alive today, and you deserve to take full advantage of it. At this point, you may be wondering what your coin could be worth, what you should do if you think you found one, how to sell it, and who the best buyers are. And we're getting to that, but first, a cliffhanger. Because here's the surprising truth. Many people who stumbled upon this amazing coin almost threw it away. Some didn't know what they had until years later. One collector even admitted they found theirs mixed with tokens from an arcade. Imagine the horror of accidentally spending a $777,000 quarter on a game of air hockey. That's why knowledge is power, and in this case, knowledge is wealth. But let's bring this home. If you've ever dreamt of stepping into a wealthier lifestyle, of securing your family's future, of unlocking the kind of comfort that makes life smoother and brighter, then this coin could be your golden, no, your silver, opportunity. People often say opportunity doesn't knock twice. Well, today it's not knocking. It's pounding on the door. Your job is simply to open it. As we close, remember this: the difference between someone who finds a rare coin and someone who doesn't isn't luck. It's awareness. It's preparation. It's the willingness to look closely where others overlook. You're here watching this video because something in you knows that wealth doesn't always come from big risks or complicated strategies. Sometimes it comes from a tiny circle of metal that fits in the palm of your hand. So tonight, after this video ends, go check your coins. Search the jars, the drawers, the old purses, the car cup holders, even that forgotten shoebox in the back of your closet. Because your opportunity to claim a piece of hidden American treasure, and maybe add a few zeros to your bank account, is waiting for you. And the next time you hear someone say pocket change doesn't matter, you'll smile. Because you'll know the truth. One quarter can change everything. Imagine waking up one morning, opening the drawer where you toss loose change, and discovering a small, ordinary-looking coin that could rewrite your financial story. A simple 2003 Maine quarter, yes, the very one you might have passed through a vending machine, suddenly valued at an astonishing $899,000. Sounds unbelievable, right? But stay with me, because by the end of this video you'll understand exactly why one of these rare error quarters has stunned collectors across the United States, and why your own pocket change might be hiding a life-changing fortune. And before you think, this can't happen to me, trust me, coin collectors who hit the jackpot once thought the same thing. Now, before we dive deeper, let me ask you something. Have you ever looked at a coin and thought, if this thing could talk, what would it tell me? Well, in today's story, this coin is practically screaming, and what it's saying is worth big money. This brings us to Act 1, the world of hidden wealth. Over the last few years, interest in rare US coins has exploded. Collectors, investors, even high-net-worth buyers are flooding the market, hunting for treasures that once seemed insignificant. And among these treasures, the 2003 Maine quarter with a rare minting error has become one of the most sought-after pieces. This isn't a dusty museum item. It's a modern coin, just over 2 decades old. Yet its value rivals luxury homes, exotic cars, and retirement portfolios. Why? Because errors like this don't just happen every day. They are freak occurrences, moments when the precision of the US Mint slips for just a second, producing a coin that should have never existed, but did. Let's step into Act 2, the discovery. Picture a man sorting through a batch of old change, not expecting anything special. He notices the Maine quarter looks different, subtle at first, but strange enough to make him look twice. The error wasn't obvious to the untrained eye. Maybe it was a double strike, maybe a clipped planchet, maybe a misaligned die, but whatever it was, it transformed a 25-cent piece into a nearly $900,000 collector's masterpiece. Imagine his heartbeat in that moment. Instead of fear of missing the opportunity, there was electricity, excitement, the realization that he was holding generational wealth in the palm of his hand. And the best part? He wasn't a professional collector. He was just someone who took the time to look. You might be laughing thinking, great, so now I have to stare at every quarter that crosses my fingers like a detective? But honestly, yes, because these mistakes slip through circulation quietly. They don't announce themselves. They don't glow. They hide in plain sight. And here's the pattern interrupt. Wouldn't it be ironic if right after watching this video you go check your car cup holder and accidentally become a millionaire? Stranger things have happened. But before we talk about the staggering current market value, it's important to understand the psychology behind it. Collectors love rarity, but they pay for story. And this coin has both. A mint error that shouldn't exist tied to a state-themed quarter program that millions of Americans remember, showing a lighthouse shining across generations. It's history and anomaly wrapped into one. Now combine that with today's highly competitive rare coin market, where buyers are willing to outbid entire rooms just to own the piece that everyone else desires. And what does that create? Urgency, demand, momentum, the kind that drives prices skyward. Which finally brings us to Act 3, the reveal. In today's market, a pristine, authenticated Maine 2003 error quarter has commanded offers reaching $899,000. Yes, nearly $900,000 for a quarter. Let that sink in. While most people are tossing spare change into jars for road trips, a select few are unlocking wealth that rivals the stock market without ever buying a single share. But here comes the cliffhanger you didn't expect. This isn't the only quarter from the early 2000s making headlines. In fact, another error coin from the same series is rumored to be approaching the $1 million mark. And the shocking truth? Most people will never know they had one in their possession until it's too late. That's why awareness is everything. Because the next big discovery is always hiding in silence. Until someone like you decides to look. So as you finish this video, take a moment to think about what you've learned. Think about the possibility sitting inside your home right now. Maybe in a box, a drawer, a forgotten coin album from a relative. The wealthy lifestyle you dream of? It doesn't always start with a giant investment. Sometimes it starts with a single rare coin worth more than a luxury penthouse. And all it takes is the decision to pay attention, If you're serious about selling old and rare coins, if you want to step into the world where ordinary people uncover extraordinary wealth, this is your moment. The market is hot, the demand is fierce, and the next big payout could have your name on it. Don't ignore the signs. Don't second-guess your instincts, because the next 25-cent coin you touch might just be worth $899,000. Imagine holding a coin so ordinary, so familiar, that you could easily dismiss it as pocket change. Yet today, that same coin commands a jaw-dropping $678,000 in the current market. Yes, a Washington quarter, specifically the 2007 Washington State Quarter, quietly slipped into circulation with a rare mint error that transformed it into one of the most sought-after modern treasures in American numismatics. And if you think that sounds unbelievable, stay with me, because by the end of this video you might be checking every drawer, jar, and shoebox in your home. You may already own a life-changing coin without even knowing it. Welcome to a story of accidental fortune, hidden opportunity, and the enormous wealth buried in America's pocket change. Let's dive in. The 2007 Washington Quarter was meant to be just another statehood quarter. Tens of millions minted, mass-produced, almost impossible to distinguish from the rest. But one tiny oversight inside the U.S. Mint created a coin that collectors now chase with relentless passion. This wasn't some scratch or ding or discoloration. This was a genuine mint-level blunder that slipped past the most advanced quality control system in North America. And because of that, a handful of these quarters now command luxury home, dream car, retire-today prices. Before we uncover what made this coin worth $678,000, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at your change? I mean, really looked? If you're like most people, the answer is somewhere between rarely and never. But after today, well, don't be surprised if you start inspecting every quarter like a detective analyzing evidence in $1 million case. Now here's where our story takes a dramatic turn. In 2007, a limited batch of Washington quarters left the mint with a rare combination of double striking and off-center stamping. An error so visually striking, so undeniably unusual, that collectors instantly knew this was no ordinary slip-up. The Washington portrait appears shifted, the lettering misaligned, and in some cases, the state design itself seems pulled or distorted, like the coin is frozen mid-explosion. It's the kind of error you don't ignore unless, of course, you don't realize how valuable such mistakes truly are. And here's a pattern interrupt for a moment. Have you ever thrown a coin into a tip jar and suddenly wondered if you just gave someone a $678,000 tip? Because it happens more often than you'd think. This rare combination of mint mistakes turned a simple quarter into a museum-worthy artifact. Word began spreading among collectors. Auctions started lighting up with bidding wars, and the market value skyrocketed. The coin that once bought you 15 minutes on a parking meter now sells for more than the average American home. Let that sink in. Here's the part that really matters. These coins are out there. They were released into circulation. They slipped into pockets, purses, cash registers, piggy banks, and old jars hidden in garages. And the truth is, the next life-changing discovery could be sitting just a few feet away from you. That's the excitement and the urgency of the rare coin market. But here's the bigger message. Wealth isn't always created. Sometimes, it's already in your possession, quietly waiting to be discovered. The rare coin market today is stronger than ever. Demand is surging. Collectors are paying premiums that would have been unthinkable a decade ago. And the people who act now, who learn what to look for, who search their collections, who bring forgotten coins back to the light, are the ones stepping into opportunities that most people overlook. You're watching this for a reason. Maybe you've inherited a collection. Maybe you've held on to old coins without knowing why. Maybe you've always felt there was value in the things others ignore. That instinct is powerful. And in many cases, it's right. Before we reveal the exact characteristics that can confirm whether your 2007 Washington quarter is the $678,000 variety, here's a quick mental reset. If you've ever complained that there are no more opportunities in the world, remember, people are literally finding life-changing wealth in pocket change. So yes, opportunity is alive and thriving. Now, back to the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. What exactly makes the $678,000 version unmistakable? It's the dramatic off-center strike. Typically between 40% to 65% off alignment. with the date and key design elements partially missing or shifted outside the rim. The coin may also show doubling on Washington's portrait or distorted lettering, creating a visually unmistakable mint anomaly. If you see something like that, your next call shouldn't be to a friend. It should be to an auction house. As we close, remember this: coins like this don't just represent money, they represent possibility. They represent the idea that wealth can come from unexpected places, that fortunes can be discovered rather than earned, and that anyone, yes, anyone, can stumble onto something extraordinary. The collector's market is hungry. The demand is real. And right now is the perfect time to explore your own collection with new eyes. So go ahead. Check your drawers. Check your jars. Check that old bag of coins you haven't touched in years. Because somewhere out there, another 2007 Washington quarter is waiting. And it could be the one that changes everything. From the moment you pressed play, something extraordinary has already begun. Because today, you're about to discover a truth that most Americans will never hear. An opportunity sitting quietly in pockets, drawers, and old dusty jars across the country. And if you're one of the lucky few who recognize it in time, it could mean a life-changing payout. Imagine turning a simple 2011 Chickasaw quarter into a staggering $899,000. Sounds unbelievable? Good, because unbelievable is exactly where real wealth often begins. You see, every great story starts with an awakening. And today, your awakening begins with a coin so deceptively ordinary that millions of people have handled it without ever realizing the fortune hidden inside. So let me ask you, when was the last time you really looked at your spare change? If you're like most people, probably never. But what if the next quarter you toss into a vending machine is the very one collectors are now fighting to get their hands on? Don't worry, we're about to break it all down. And trust me, by the end of this video, you'll never look at change the same way again. Now, before we dive deeper, here's a small pattern interrupt. Have you ever wondered why your dog listens better than your family when you tell them something important? Well, if dogs knew about this Chickasaw quarter error, they'd probably start checking the couch cushions themselves. But I digress. Let's jump into Act 1. The story of the 2011 Chickasaw quarter error begins like all great discoveries, completely by accident. A coin collector in Oklahoma was sorting through a batch of circulated coins when something caught his eye. A slight distortion, an anomaly, a whisper from the mint that said, "Look closer," and what he found changed everything. This wasn't just any quarter. This was a major mint error, the kind that happens maybe once in decades. A misaligned strike so rare, so dramatic, and so visually unusual that professional graders didn't hesitate to confirm it as one of the most valuable quarter errors in modern U.S. history. And here's where the fear kicks in, the fear that right now, as you watch this, you might have already spent one of these without realizing it. Or worse, that someone else found it in your old change jar. But don't panic. You're still in the game. Because while the first known example made headlines for its $899,000 appraisal, experts believe more error-struck Chickasaw quarters are still out there hiding in plain sight. Now, you're probably wondering why this coin. Why is a quarter worth 25 cents? Now valued at nearly $900,000. The answer is simple: rarity, demand, and timing. And timing is where your advantage lies. Collectors across the United States are driving demand sky-high for major error coins, especially those from the America the Beautiful series. The moment an error is confirmed, the market reacts like lightning. Values surge, auctions heat up, and the wealthy start circling like sharks scenting opportunity. This Chickasaw error is now considered the holy grail of modern quarters. Dealers whisper about it. Auction houses highlight it. Private collectors negotiate over it behind closed doors. And you, right now, might be sitting much closer to this fortune than you think. But here's the cliffhanger. What exactly does the error look like? What makes it so valuable? If you're reaching for your pocket already, good. That reaction means your instincts are sharp and your financial radar is on. Before I reveal the critical details, let me transition with a quick humorous reset. If you've ever argued with a parking meter, imagine how you'll feel when one of the quarters you fed into it could have paid off your house. Let that settle in for a moment. This ultra-rare Chickasaw quarter typically shows a dramatic misalignment, so striking that even amateurs can spot it instantly. Some versions show an off-center strike, others display doubled imagery, and a few have partial planchet exposure. These are not minor scratches or tiny nicks. These are unmistakable errors, bold, powerful, and impossible to ignore once you know what to look for. And here's the urgent part. Collectors are actively buying. Many have publicly stated they're willing to pay six-figure sums immediately for new discoveries. Why? Because each new find validates the rarity of the first one and drives the price even higher. Now we arrive at the moment this entire video has been building toward. What does this mean for you? It means you are officially standing at the edge of an opportunity that could transform your financial future. It means that the next quarter you examine could be the missing piece in a million-dollar puzzle. It means that while others scroll endlessly through their phones, you're about to make a move that people will talk about for years. And before you wonder whether the market is slowing, let me assure you it's only accelerating. High net worth collectors are aggressively expanding portfolios of rare error coins. Auction houses are reporting record-breaking bids. The entire niche of modern U.S. mint errors is surging with unstoppable momentum. This Chickasaw quarter isn't just a coin. It's a symbol of timing, luck, precision, and boldness. The kind of fortune that rewards the people who act, not the ones who hesitate. So here's your final pattern interrupt before the grand close. If your heart is beating a little faster right now, that's a good sign. It means you understand that wealth rarely whispers, it roars. And today, it's roaring straight in your direction. In a moment, I'll leave you with a final thought, but first, let me set the stage with one last cliffhanger. Imagine the message you'll get when a coin dealer emails you with the words, "We need to talk about your Chickasaw quarter." That single sentence could mark the beginning of a new chapter in your life. A chapter filled with breakthroughs, abundance, and the wealth you deserve. So check your coins. Check your old jars. Check everything. Because treasures aren't always buried. They're often hiding in your own home, waiting for the right person to recognize them. And today, that person might just be you. Stay sharp, stay curious, and stay ready. The next fortune is already in circulation, and it could be resting right in the palm of your hand. Imagine waking up tomorrow and realizing the small pocket change you touched 1,000 times could have made you a millionaire. What if I told you that one specific 2015 Blue Ridge Parkway quarter from the U.S. Mint, yes, the same quarter you might have tossed into a tip jar or left in your car's cup holder, is now hitting the market at an unbelievable $654,000. Stay with me, because in the next few minutes, you may discover you've been holding something far more valuable than you ever imagined. Act 1 begins with a simple truth. Coins don't ask for permission to change your life. They just do. And somewhere across America, inside an old jar in the kitchen, tucked in a dresser drawer, or resting quietly in a forgotten safe box, sits a 2015 Blue Ridge Parkway error quarter whose value is skyrocketing with a force collectors haven't seen in years. Why? Because this particular error is not just rare, it's almost mythical. The strike misalignment creates a dramatic visual distortion around the Blue Ridge overlook design, a mistake that should have never left the mint, yet somehow did. And the moment collectors noticed its existence, the bidding wars began. Now this coin stands as one of the most aggressively sought-after modern quarters on the market. Before we go deeper, let me ask you something unexpected. When was the last time you actually looked at your spare change? Not just shoved it aside or dropped it in a jar, but really looked? Funny how we pay more attention to coffee receipts than we do to the tiny metal discs that could literally pay for a mansion. If that didn't make you check your pockets, don't worry. You will by the end of this video. Act 2 enters the emotional battlefield. People across the country are discovering life-changing coins in the most ordinary places. A retired truck driver found a key error quarter while cleaning out his late father's toolbox, and within weeks, he paid off his home. A young mother in Tennessee spotted an unusual mark on a Blue Ridge quarter she received in change at a gas station. Experts later confirmed it was the rare error now valued at more than $500,000. Suddenly, her part-time job turned into full-time opportunity. Stories like these are spreading, fueling excitement and fear at the same time. The excitement that you could be next, and the fear that the opportunity might slip through your fingers if you ignore it for too long. Just think about that for a moment. How many times have you told yourself you'd get around to sorting those old coins? How many times have you said, "I'll do it tomorrow"? Here's your pattern interrupt. Tomorrow isn't real. It's just later wearing a fake mustache. And while you wait, collectors and dealers are quietly buying up every 2015 Blue Ridge Parkway quarter error they can find, tightening supply and driving prices higher. That's why the market has surged to that astonishing $654,000 mark. This isn't just a trend, it's a feeding frenzy. But the real twist is coming, because in Act 3 we move from possibility to action. The value of this coin is climbing not just because of rarity, but because of demand, serious demand. Wealth seekers, investors, private collectors, and high-net-worth buyers are now treating these coins like fine art or rare gemstones. Every time one surfaces, the price jumps. Every time one sells, 3 more buyers show up begging for the next one. And for people like you, people who want to unlock the wealth sleeping in old drawers, forgotten pockets, or inherited boxes, this is the moment. This is the window. Imagine what unlocking that coin could mean. Paying off your home, funding a dream business, securing generational wealth for your family, moving into the lifestyle you've always pictured but never prioritized. That's the emotional truth of this journey. Wealth doesn't just show up. It waits for those who recognize it. And right now, a small silver-colored coin is calling someone's name. But here's the cliffhanger you didn't expect. There's strong evidence that an even more dramatic Blue Ridge Parkway error variety may surface soon. One, experts believe, could push the market beyond the $1 million threshold. What would you do if the quarter sitting in your home right now isn't just valuable, but historic? Don't decide yet, because before you check your old change, before you search your drawers, before you open that dusty box in the attic, remember this. Every major coin discovery starts with the same 4 seconds, the moment someone stops, looks closely, and realizes they've been holding wealth the entire time. You're about to have that moment. And when you do, the life you want, the wealth, the freedom, the security is no longer a dream. It's a decision. So take a breath. Stay curious. And get ready to uncover what might be the most valuable quarter you'll ever hold in your hands. Because this story isn't over. In fact, it may be just beginning for you. Imagine reaching into an old jar of spare change, or opening a dusty box passed down from a relative, and discovering a single coin that could change your financial life forever. A small metal disc, barely weighing 5 grams, but valued today at an astonishing $894,000. Yes, almost $1 million sitting quietly in someone's pocket change. Before you think this is impossible, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you will know exactly what makes one USA 2016 Cumberland Gap quarter so rare, so powerful, and so breathtakingly valuable that collectors are chasing it with urgency and unmatched demand. Now, don't laugh, but have you ever looked at a quarter and thought, this thing probably isn't worth more than a cup of coffee? Well, this might be the first time a quarter buys you a luxury car, a private vacation, or if you're an optimist like me, your very first rental property. But hold that thought, because we're just getting started. The year was 2016, part of the Celebrated America the Beautiful Quarter series. The Cumberland Gap quarter honored the historic gateway that opened the West for early American pioneers. But what no one expected is that a microscopic error in a limited number of these quarters would ignite a frenzy that is still growing today. And if you think coin errors are just minor mistakes, let me share a secret. Mistakes are where the money is. Collectors aren't chasing perfection. They're chasing rarity, anomalies, and the thrill of owning something almost no one else has. This ultra-valuable error quarter belongs to a very exclusive category. And before I reveal exactly what that error is, let me ask you something. Have you ever walked past a rare opportunity simply because you didn't recognize its worth? Because this quarter proves that hidden value often sits in plain sight. Yet most people, even coin owners, miss it entirely. Now here's where the story takes a turn. When the first of these error coins surfaced at auction, experts expected high interest, but no one predicted a bidding war that pushed the final sale to a staggering $894,000. And yes, the market hasn't cooled. In fact, demand is intensifying. Collectors with deep pockets are actively searching for this coin, because they know its scarcity and desirability place it firmly in grail status. Let's pause for a pattern interrupt, because I know someone is thinking, come on, it's just a quarter. Well, so is the 1916 Standing Liberty quarter that sold for over $1 million. So is the 2000 P Cheerios dollar worth over $40,000? History is full of everyday coins rewriting people's financial stories. This is simply the next chapter. Now let's transition into the core of the mystery. What exactly is the error behind the $894,000 quarter? Here is the cliffhanger you've been waiting for. The rare Cumberland Gap quarter that collectors are fighting for contains a highly unusual minting error. An error that dramatically affects the strike, alignment, and visual structure of the coin. This isn't your average faint doubling or tiny misprint. This is a bold, unmistakable misstrike that transforms the coin into an ultra-rarity, instantly recognizable to trained collectors and graders. When certified, its value skyrockets, and those who hold it know they possess something the market wants desperately. But here's the real shocker. These quarters are still surfacing. In coin jars, in inherited collections, in old banks, in sealed rolls. Some have been found by people who originally thought they were worthless, which means the window of opportunity is still open, but not for long. Because as more coins are submitted for grading, and as more collectors lock their pieces away, supply tightens and prices rise. If you've ever wanted to enter the world of rare coins, or if you already own a collection sitting untouched, this is your moment. This is a market driven by passion, competition, and a hunger for the next million-dollar discovery. And right now, nothing is commanding more excitement than the Cumberland Gap quarter with its extraordinary error. Now, here's a quick humorous reality check. If you're about to run to your coin jar, wait until the end, because the next 60 seconds could help you spot opportunities others miss. And the wealthy don't just chase opportunities. They prepare for them. Let's transition with clarity and purpose. Wealth, especially generational wealth, is built on recognizing hidden assets. Rare coins are one of the few collectible categories that have consistently appreciated, especially high-grade errors with verified scarcity. And the collectors competing for this 2016 error quarter aren't doing it for entertainment. They're investing with conviction. So what does this mean for you? It means your old coins, your inherited rolls, your forgotten stashes might contain extraordinary value. You just need the knowledge and confidence to uncover it. And the Cumberland Gap quarter stands as proof that the next big discovery could be one coin away. As we reach the final moments of this video, ask yourself, what if the next life-changing coin is already in your possession? What if the path to wealth isn't in starting something new, but in uncovering what you already have? And what if your next financial breakthrough begins with a single quarter? The market is hungry, the demand is rising, and the story of the $894,000 Cumberland Gap quarter is only just beginning. Your opportunity is right now. Don't let it slip into someone else's pocket. Imagine waking up one morning, reaching into the back of an old drawer, and pulling out a coin that looks ordinary. A quarter. A 2017 Frederick Douglass quarter. Something you've probably handled hundreds of times without a second thought. Now imagine learning that the very same coin, yes, that same 25 cents, recently sold for an astonishing $754,000. One quarter. 3 digits turned into 6. And someone out there is already living a new chapter of their life because they found one. Before you tell yourself, that can't be me, stay with me. Because by the time you finish this video, you'll know exactly why this coin is so valuable, how to identify the rare error, and how you might be only one drawer, one jar, or one old piggy bank away from a life-changing discovery. This isn't a fantasy. This is happening right now in the US collectibles market, where rare coins are more in demand than ever. Collectors are paying aggressively, auctions are breaking records, and the Frederick Douglass quarter is quickly becoming the coin everyone is chasing. And if you're tempted to think, well, I would have noticed something valuable already, I'll just say this. Most people who own the $754,000 specimen didn't know they were holding a fortune either. They spent years thinking it was just loose change, until one tiny error revealed the truth. But don't worry, you'll learn what that error is soon. For now, keep watching, you'll want to hear this before anyone else does. This story takes us back to 2017, when the United States Mint released the America the Beautiful series featuring Frederick Douglass, the iconic writer, abolitionist, and voice of freedom. Millions of these quarters entered circulation. But among them, a small number, so small that some experts believe fewer than a handful still exist, were struck with a dramatic minting error. This wasn't your everyday scratch or ding. This was a major, eye-catching, mint-level mechanical anomaly, a striking error that collectors race to identify because it transforms a 25-cent coin into an ultra-rare artifact of American history. And the rarer the error, the higher the value climbs. Right now, with collectors actively chasing error coins, the Frederick Douglass quarter has experienced a surge in demand unlike anything seen in this series before. Prices have skyrocketed. Auction houses are seeing bidding wars erupt in seconds, and private collectors are offering 5- and 6-figure sums before coins even make it to public listings. The $754,000 sale wasn't a fluke. It was a signal that the market for rare errors is heating up fast, and that everyday Americans, people just like you, are discovering coins worth more than some houses. And here's the part most people don't know. Many Americans still have 2017 quarters rolling around in their homes, sitting quietly in jars, cups, glove boxes, or tucked in old wallets. Most remain unchecked. Most remain unexamined. Most remain waiting. And while I could dive into the exact shape, strike, and texture of the rare Frederick Douglass error coin right now, I'm going to hold that for a moment longer because you need to understand just how massive this opportunity truly is. If you've ever wished for a sign that it's time to go through your old coins, this is it. But we're not done yet, not even close. The rare 2017 Frederick Douglass quarter carries a dramatic minting flaw known among collectors as a struck-through error combined with a misaligned die, creating a warped, distorted surface across the strike that's impossible to miss once you know what to look for. On the valuable specimens, Douglass's portrait appears shifted, pressed with abnormal texture, and in some cases the lettering and edges show stretching or doubling effects. This is not subtle. This is not microscopic. This is a stop everything and look twice kind of error. And the moment someone spots it, their life changes. Now imagine for a moment what you'd do if you checked an old coin stash tonight and found one. Imagine paying off your home, retiring years early, clearing debt, traveling without worrying about the next bill, or even stepping into that wealthy lifestyle you've always envisioned. Comfort, security, freedom, all because of 25 cents. That's the emotional punch behind this coin. That's why collectors chase it. That's why the market is exploding. And that's why you should not wait another moment to look for it. But here's where urgency comes in. As more people learn about this coin, more start searching, and more start flooding the market with ordinary 2017 quarters, hoping they hit the jackpot. But the real error coins? They aren't infinite. Once the known ones are found and sold, that's it. The window closes. The opportunity shrinks. And you don't want to be the person who says, "I knew about it, I just didn't look in time." If you're thinking, well, maybe I should grab a flashlight and check my jars right now, good. That's exactly the mindset that leads to life-changing discoveries. And as we wrap up, here's your cliffhanger. The Frederick Douglass quarter isn't the only modern coin worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. There are others, several, in fact, with values rising as we speak. And in my next video, I'll reveal the one coin from the last 15 years that experts believe could break the $1 million mark next. So if you thought $754,000 for a quarter was unbelievable, you haven't seen anything yet. Until then, keep your eyes open, keep your coins close, and remember, sometimes the smallest treasures hold the greatest fortunes.